Okay, hi. Here goes nothing. Hi, it's Miri. This is my 1K follower video, and I have some questions that I really should have probably planned out what I was going to say before I started this video. This is an example of how terrible I am at thinking things through. Okay, so, sorry, it's getting on my nerves, the reflection. Okay, first question is from Anon. I was asked my major pet peeves. In fic or in general? Because those are two different questions. In fic, I would suppose it would be character bashing. I really hate it when people let their own dislike of a character affect how they write that character. For example, when Anna or Lisa become these screaming bitchy harpies so that Cass can come in and be wonderful for Dean. It's like, no, come on, they've got characterizations. Don't screw with that. Write them in character or don't write them at all. Sorry, moving on. And the same thing happens with everyone else. That's sort of my big thing in fic. I suppose in real life, it's people being inconsiderate jerks in public. And that's kind of weird for me being in south of England, actually. I'm from the north of England, and it's a bit of a different situation there. Down south, like, there's that joke about how on the London tubes, nobody talks to each other ever. That's true. That's a southern thing. It's not like that up north. So that's a bit different. But, for example, when I was in America, I used to get really weirded out when people would get off the bus and not thank the driver. Like, that's just so weird to me. Everybody thanks the driver, as far as I know, because, you know, he's driven you everywhere. That's his thing. It's hard work, and he's done it. It always used to make me laugh when people in front of me would get off and not thank him, and then I would thank him, and then I'd hear the people behind me thank him. Like, I'd shamed people into being polite. That always made me laugh. I suppose, as well, my final pet peeve would be, really, really dorkily, misplaced apostrophes. Honestly, if I could go around with American magic marker, if I could go around with a pen and just scribble out when people did it wrong or write one in, I genuinely would. It really bothers me. So yeah, those are my pet peeves. I was also asked my favourite TV shows. It's Supernatural. Despite everything, it's still up there. Even, yeah. I would also say Elementary is up there. Just in general, it's a fantastic. If you're not watching Elementary and you follow me, check it out, because you really, really should. It's amazing. Psych as well is up there. That's sort of my fun show, while still being like interesting and entertaining enough to be watchable. I like Psych. Suits, if only because it's so, it's the opposite. It's not. It is funny, but it's more. I think I said to Elaine once, Suits is so intense. It's one of the only shows where I wish I did have the advert breaks, solely because it's so intense. I just need a minute sometimes just to be like, holy shit, just pause it. I can't. I just need a minute to calm down. So yeah, Suits is up there. Probably my all-time favourite in terms of shows that have had the biggest effect on me is yeah, it's Buffy. It's Buffy and Angel. It's the Buffyverse. it's yeah, that's my big show, I think. Also, if non-Western, I suppose if non-Western TV shows count, which of course they would, Gundam 00 as well. That's another one that if you're following me and you've got even the slightest interest in anime, I definitely recommend checking it out. Okay, next question would be, where's my favourite place? Favourite place that I've been? And that's kind of a hard one for me to answer, just because I've been to a lot of places. That sounds like I'm humble. That sounds like I'm bragging, but I'm not. It's just that my mum gets itchy feet. She doesn't like staying in one place, so we go on holiday in the summer. We've been to a lot of places in Europe. We've been to Thailand. We've been to Turkey. So we've been to a lot of places, and it's kind of hard for me to pick out one as being my favourite. I have really enjoyed Turkey. It's probably the place I've been the most, with the possible exception of Spain. But I really did like Turkey. I think it's great. It's just too hot. There's a reason that I don't like leaving England, and it's just I don't deal well with heat. So yeah, Turkey's good. I also had a really good time. I went to Florida. I went to, is it Disney World or Disneyland in Florida? I can't ever remember the difference. The Disney Park in Florida. I went there. That was great. That was really cool. That was the first time I ever went to America, and I actually burst into tears when we got off the plane and an American voice came over the tannoy. That was kind of embarrassing, but yeah, no, that was really cool. Next question again. Bucket list. 3 things off my bucket list. Now, I don't technically have a bucket list, so I just kind of had to think of 3 things I'd like to do. Skydive is one of them, although I can't help but think that literally someone would have to push me out of the plane, because I would get up there, I'd get all the stuff on, and I'd just go, nope, and someone would have to give me a shove. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably cut myself on the way down, but I'd love to give it a go. A family friend of ours is really into it, so I guess he sort of made me want to try it. I would also like to cook a meal for a dinner party. That sounds really, really stupid and dorky, but I do like cooking. It's just that I don't have the patience to do it just in general. For a normal meal, I'll quite happily just shove something frozen in the oven, because I can't be bothered cooking for just me. But I would love to do a dinner party at some point and go, right, I'm having 6 people, 7 people, I'm going to cook a big pot of the family Irish stew, I'm going to cook that, that'll be our main meal, I'll make a dessert, it'll be awesome. I would love to do that, you know, someday in the future. As per our family tradition, I will probably host a Christmas dinner, and that will probably be the best day of my life, because I will enjoy doing it. And finally, get a tattoo. I want to get wings as a tattoo. That's really dorky, I know. I want to get wings on the blades of my shoulders. It's not just because of SBN. I mean, SBN is an influence, but I've always loved wings. Since I was a kid, it was like one of my biggest things. Whenever I would create a character or talk about superpowers I wanted, wings, flying, that was my thing. So yes, I would love to get wings tattooed on my back. So that would be that's my bucket list, I suppose. Next question is from Mag from Castile of Winchester, and she asked if I would marry her. Mag, my Chilean queen, I love you. Yes, baby. She is my princess. And one day I will actually make her watch Supernatural instead of just reading all of the fic. That'll be our wedding party. Alex Floorbells, did I say that right? Floorbells? Yeah. Alex, anyway, asked my favourite male fictional character. And why would you make me pick that? There's so many. Why would you do it? Okay. Probably if I had to pick one in terms of everyone that I've loved, Spike, I think. It would have to be Spike from Buffy. Just because he's the only character, I think, who I've ever liked who has gone that whole gamut from antagonist, who I was terrified of, but also loved watching because he was such a cool antagonist, all the way to protagonist who makes me cry. And he went there. He did all that. And there was no point in that development where I didn't find it believable or where I stopped liking him. And considering that's pretty interesting. I suppose pretty good. And yeah, so that's that. So yeah, Spike, I think, is that he's a dynamic, he's fun, he's funny, he's sad, and he's just generally fascinating. So a tough choice, but Spike, I think. So then the other question was my female favourite character. And as much as I hate to be the guy who keeps choosing Buffy characters, I think it is Willow. Willow I identified with quite heavily, being sort of the nerdy, dorky, mostly socially outcasted one who likes reading and spending time in the libraries, and especially it was her friendship with Giles that I think really did it for me, because I was always more likely to be a bit of a teacher's pet than I was to be friends with people of my own age. It's always been a bit of a problem for me. So yeah, it was Willow, I think, and it's the same thing. She has a fantastic, obviously not quite the same journey, but she does have a fantastic dynamic character development, and as bad as it was at some points for her, there was no point where I stopped loving her. Okay, sorry. This is going to be a video with a lot of babbling. I'm just going to warn you right now. You may have already realised that. So yeah, she also asked me, what character have you connected with most in your lifetime? And are they the same as your favourite? And if not, why? Blah, blah, blah. I do think that Willow probably is up there again. It probably is Willow again. I really did connect with her very deeply, and she gave me a lot of hope that that I could be cool in the future, because Willow goes from this mousy little computer nerd who reads a lot and is really kind of socially outcasted to this awesome witch who everybody loves and is awesome, and you know, how can I not connect with that? Also, funnily enough, I connected with her long before I realised that I was bisexual. So I guess there was a level there of me going, ooh, bisexual, without consciously realising it. But yeah, I think that it is. But although I have to say, I do connect on a very deep level with Sam Winchester, and it's that constantly doing the wrong thing for the right reasons, constantly trying and wanting to do good, wanting to be good, but fucking up over and over again, but never stopping trying to be good. I mean, that's it gives me a lot of hope, because I screw up a lot, and it's good to see a protagonist character for whom that is a running theme, that you don't give up hope, you don't stop trying to be good just because you've done the wrong thing, or because you've messed up, or because you've hurt somebody. You keep trying, you keep being better, and you learn, and eventually you'll save the world. Okay, my favourite childhood memory. Alex had a lot of questions, so God bless her. My favourite childhood memory. Honestly, the one that always stands out most for me, when I was young, I was in primary school. I don't know what that is. It's elementary, maybe middle school. I don't know. I couldn't have been more than 8 or 9, and the school was having some kind of charity drive, and I don't actually remember what the charity was, but the way it worked was everybody bought a balloon for charity, and then they put them in this huge net, all these multicolored balloons in this huge net, and had people holding them down at either ends of the playground. And then there was, you know, after a week of everyone buying balloons, there was a hell of a lot of balloons in that net. And then everybody gathered together at the end of the week, and they opened the net, they flipped it up, and just all of these balloons went flying off into the air, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was really gorgeous to just see the sky. It was like watching Up. It was just great seeing. It was just, the sky was just full of all these multicolored balloons going, and all the kids and me were all just clapping, and you know, everyone had their parents there, and the teachers were happy, and we'd helped whatever charity it was, we'd helped a charity, and it was just great. It was really beautiful, and for some reason that image of the net opening and all the balloons flying up, that's really stuck with me. And I don't know why exactly, except that it was a really cool image. So yeah, I guess that would be it. She did ask me, does anyone ever annoyingly stereotype England? And you're like, so, yes. Yes. Honestly, it's probably for the best if we don't talk about that, because I don't want to get furious. Yeah, that happens, especially on Tumblr, where there's this weird Anglophilic trend. Like, just this idea that for some reason English boys are more. It's like, seriously? You've never been to England. Don't even. You think that we are all, the London that you see on show. We're not. Fucking watch Jeremy Kyle, okay? Just go watch English Jeremy Kyle and come back and tell me that all English boys are so refined and gorgeous. It's like, no, fuck you, okay? Fuck you, no. Sorry. But yeah, no, it's. And I think as well as the accent thing, I'm. Every time I see someone who's not from England, it's usually from America, saying, oh my god, I love the English accent. It's like, no, you fucking don't. You love received pronunciation, which is the accent that you keep hearing on TV. It's not an English accent. It's not the English. Fucking, you come over to England, you talk to anyone from Liverpool, from Manchester, from basically anywhere that isn't London, and then come and talk to me and say that you love that one English accent. You can travel 20 minutes up the road in England and be in an entirely different accent area. When I was in the US, when I was in Boston, there was a girl there who was also from England, but she was from down south. And she had the very English, very received pronunciation accent. She was very clearly English. So people would go to him and go, oh my god, you're from England, that's so cool, that's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And they turn to me and they go, so are you from Australia? And I'd be like, no, I'm from England as well, I'm just from a different part of England, it's the same accent, I hate you. I'm going to stop now, but there's a reason why I was trying to head that one off at the pass. I love Tumblr, I do, but you have a very warped idea of what England is. My favourite band. Just to move things on a little bit there, because it's already, oh my god, it's 17 minutes in. Favourite band, if we go by what's the most on my iTunes, it's Glee. I have more Glee songs on my iTunes than any other artist, which is vaguely terrifying. I just happen to like it's one of the few reasons that I watch Glee. I like most of the music on it. But if we're talking about actual bands, it's kind of really hard. I tend to like songs more than bands. I would say probably Three Doors Down or Florence and the Machine. Although, honourable mention to things like Mumford & Sons and Adele. There's a lot of bands that I really like. It's really hard for me to pick. My first OTP. Yeah, I wasn't kidding about there being a lot of questions here. First OTP, probably Cloud Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII. If we're talking about first OTP that I actually shipped, knowing what ships were and read fanfiction for and things like that, yeah, Cloud Yuffie. Yuffie. I said Yuffie for years, and it's still kind of hard for me to break that habit. But yeah, Cloud Yuffie. I still like that one. I mean, I'm not really in the Final Fantasy fandom anymore, but that, I think there'll always be a place in my heart for that one. Have I ever fallen out of love with a ship? This one's probably going to get me a lot of hate, or a fair bit of it at least, but Derek? I know, please don't hate me. I think the thing about Steric for me was that I liked the idea. I went into Teen Wolf because of Steric, as many people did, and when I went in, the way that it was being raved about, I was expecting it to be like Dean Cast levels of there. Like not actually canon, but pretty damn obvious, even if you aren't looking for it. And then I went, and it was like, there's a bit of potential there, you know, it could work, and I can see why their characters would complement each other, but in actual canon, there's not really much to it. And so for a while, I shipped it on the potential, in the same sort of way that I kind of do Sabriel. You know, like I can see where it comes from. I can enjoy it. I've read a couple of fics of it. It's okay, yeah. But gradually, I've always hated the concept of, oh, the fans turn me off that ship. I hate it because of the fans. I've always hated that. I've always said that's so stupid. Whether you're talking about a ship, or whether you're talking about a show, whether you're talking about a character, the fans can't ruin something for you because it exists on its own. It exists independently of the fans. But I think the fandom did ruin Steric for me. Steric fandom is kind of obnoxious. I'm sorry. But I'm a Scott fan, so after seeing just one too many times where Scott was completely dismissed, or one too many graphics where people completely ignore Scott's friendship with Styles, or that Derek gives more of a shit about Scott than about Styles, eventually it just kind of all collapsed in on me, and I didn't care enough about the ship beforehand, so yeah, I fell out of that ship a fair bit. So, you know, please, no hate, I'm sorry. If you ship it, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to judge you for it, as long as you're not a dick about it. You know, I'm not going to judge you for anything you ship, but for me, I never really got into it, I suppose, and the sheer fierceness with which the majority of Teen Wolf fandom ships it eventually did kind of turn me off. So, and where did I choose to go to school to study for what I've chosen? English and American literature. Honestly, I think it was because I was a little bit lazy. Not to toot my own horn, but I did what I was good at. I'd always been, you know, I'm not much of a mathematician. I like science, but I'm not particularly fantastic at it. I liked psychology, but I didn't want to do it as a career. I want to be a teacher when I grow up in the future. And if you go into education as a career, if you have a degree in education, you are stuck in that career. So if, for example, I'd gone to teacher training college and realised that actually it was not my thing, I'd be stuffed. Whereas if I did English as a degree, which was something that I felt I was quite good at, I still consider bullshitting to be my biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? Talent? Bullshitting is my biggest talent. And also, and you know, I like looking too deep into things and all that kind of thing. It's all the kind of stuff I do on Tumblr. So yeah, but if I did that as a degree, people make fun of English and the humanities and stuff like that as degrees because they're useless. They're not. What they are is not directly leading into anything. And I think that that's what makes them good, because they are versatile degrees. So that's why I think they're a good thing. that's why I went for it, because I can go into teacher training with an English degree, but I couldn't go into anything else if I had an education degree. So yeah, that's that. Anon asked me, what's the most annoyed I've ever been at fandom? I don't think any fandom has ever made me as angry as Supernatural has. And, you know, it's weird because it's my biggest fandom. You think that I would be in the fandom that doesn't make me angry, but no, it's that. I can't think of any specific one time. There's been a lot of times I've been furious at the Supernatural fandom. I think it was probably at some point during the season 6, season 7 hiatus, because that was a vicious time. That would sound like that was a vicious time, but it was there was real animosity and meanness going on there. It was not a good place to be a Cass fan, let alone a Dean Cass fan. Although I could say the same for the season 7 to season 8 hiatus, to be honest. Hiatuses in general are not pleasant times to be in this fandom. I would also say that I got very, very angry at fandom in general during that bloody poll. The one with it's gonna sound like it was that got me off staring. It wasn't. But I hated everybody involved for a while during that, because it was just, I got so many people being obnoxious about it. I saw so many people being obnoxious on both sides. It was just really just an unpleasant time, and I just kind of wanted to knock everyone's heads together until everyone stopped being stupid. But there's been a lot of times I've been furious, and probably the fandom, Glee fandom, I've never been involved in. If we're talking about canons that I've been most angry at, I basically only watch Glee to be angry at it and to like the music. I don't even enjoy it anymore. I literally watch it to be angry, to see what new depths of anger it can make me reach. But I've never been involved with the fandom, so I can't really call it that. But it has to be Supernatural. Although I have to say, Gundam 00 fandom, when around about the time the movie came out, or around halfway through season 2, that wasn't particularly a nice place either. I got really annoyed with how people reacted to Lyle once I got over my own anger at Lyle. But yeah, so yeah, Liz asked me how I started Supernatural, which for some reason my text document, which I've tried to make notes in to keep this from going too off topic, which obviously hasn't worked, but I just got really confused because it corrected SPN to Son, and I was like, what the fuck? How I started watching Supernatural and why. I started watching it because of a friend of mine, Fel, who is Hand-Drawn Phantasma. Basically, I started watching. I'd stayed away from it for a long time because literally all I knew about it was the fandom is full of incest and everybody in it is crazy. That's literally all I knew. And I thought, incest is my big squick, and I don't want to be in a fandom that is insane. Why would I? I'll stay away from it. And then Fel started watching it, and a few episodes into the first season, she said to me, "You should watch this. These two brothers remind me of our RP characters, who are Neil and Lyle Dillandy from Gundam 00." And so I've always been kind of bad about following friends of mine into other fandoms. I'll do that if I have even the slightest interest in them. The fandoms, not my friends, but I you lure me in with characters I already know, and so I did, which I always find funny. I basically got into it then because of two brothers, not for the shit, but because of the two brother relationship. So it always makes me laugh when arsehole fans say, "Oh, people only watch it because of Death Steel, they ruin everything, and if you really appreciated the brothers, you wouldn't ship it," or whatever. It's like, really? I got into it because of that. I didn't even know Cass existed. But yeah, so that would be why I started watching it, and I continue to watch it because I am emotionally invested. I can't stop. I'm a completionist. I get really uncomfortable skipping episodes of things, so I watched every episode of season 7, and that's hours of my life I will never ever get back. But yeah, it's the emotional investment. No matter how angry the show makes me or how angry the fandom makes me, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop watching until the actual show ends. I'm too emotionally invested at this point, and I am too completionisty. So yeah. Crofisima? I'm not sure I pronounced that right, honey, I'm sorry. But she asked me what my perfect ending was for Supernatural. I just want them to be happy. It can mostly be summed up by everything is happy and no more pain for anyone ever. I suppose my perfect ending that is completely fantasy and will never actually happen would be Sam settling down in a nice house with Amelia after coming clean about everything about hunting and explaining everything and having her understand and accept it. Or Sarah Blake. Sarah Blake would work too. Same reason. But just generally having someone to settle down with and have a family with that he's always wanted. And then he and Dean still hunt sometimes, still hunt occasionally. Sometimes maybe Amelia or Sarah come with, and they have a big hunting family party, family business. And sometimes they hunt together, but mostly Sam gets the domestic life he always wanted, and Dean and Cass hunt together. But they also have like a house next door to Sam and Amelia, and they have a big old, they have an adjoining backyard, and it's great. They're in each other's houses all the time, all that stuff. Yeah, so everyone's still together, and the show would end in this fantasy on a big, giant party going on in that big adjoining backyard with Sam and Dean and Cass and Amelia and Kevin and Linda and Garth, I guess, and Sheriff Mills and Benny and everyone who helped save the world all the times. And they have like a big pie cake or whatever with Happy Save the World Day baked into the crust, and Dean's on the grill working making all the burgers and the hot dogs and all that, and Cass is helping, and like Amelia would pull Sam to the side and it'd be revealed she's having a baby, and the family business is carrying on because the family's completing, and everything is happy and there's no more tears for anyone ever, and everyone's okay, and that's what I want, basically. But it's never going to happen. It's never going to... At this point, the best I could hope for from the show is that everybody dies, and then there's just a lovely shot of them all in heaven together in the roadhouse. That's the best I think I'm going to get, happy ending-wise. So yeah, that's that. Anon asked me if I could go back in time, who would I want to meet and why? I did actually misread that question when I first saw it because I said, what would you do / who would you meet? And I managed to misread it as who would you do? And I was like, what? Okay. But ignoring that part. Who would I meet? I've said before, I think, that I would want to meet Oscar Wilde. The lit student answer. But I would. I think he's a cool guy. I think he's fun. Or at least he sounds witty. I would quite like to meet him. I'd also kind of quite like to meet the original Jesus, like the actual guy, as opposed to the weird white hippie kind of weak dude that is currently sort of holding his spot. I want to meet the original guy. I think that he seems like a cool dude. I'm not even religious, but I would want to meet him. I'd also kind of, I think, like to meet sort of the Star Trek cast from back when it was at its peak, I guess, because I feel kind of bad that I'm getting into that show now when the cast is, it sounds really mean to say past their prime. That's not what I mean. Like members of the cast are dead, or I would like to have met them when it was all still new and fresh and exciting. I think that would I would quite like to be sort of into Trek during when everyone was into Trek, as opposed to now. As much as I'm enjoying it, I would quite like to have been there at its peak. Anon, a different Anon, also, if I had to pick a Meister that wasn't Neil to die, who would I choose and why? If this is fucking Shiro, I'm going to strangle you. You son of a bitch. Oh god, don't make me pick. I don't know, because, I could say Setsuna because he doesn't, as long as he went out in a blaze of glory, affecting real, permanent, genuine change, he'd be happy. Or, I could say Alleluia because he that would be his thing. He's never gonna, none of them are ever gonna live normal lives, so it's like I want them all to be able to retire, and it's a happy ending thing again. I want everyone to have a happy ending. I guess I would say Tieria, because he would survive it. Ha ha ha. Suck it. No, he would. He'd survive it, so screw you. So nobody dies. Shut up. Everyone lives in a happy world. I live in a happy world. Everything has to have a happy ending, and I will fucking murder you. You're a dick. Why do you all want to hurt me? Alright, that's all the questions. This video is over half an hour long. So if you've made it to this end, God help you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for following as well. I still have no fucking clue how the hell I've managed to get over 1,000 followers. Thank you all for following me. Thank you for liking me, I guess. And I'm sorry for babbling. I will stop now. I really, really should have scripted this out before I sat down to do this. So yeah. Bye-bye. Why won't you stop?